Hey guys, welcome to my video today. Today's video is part 2 of the Art Box Swap collaboration, which I'm doing with artist Rebecca Collins. Rebecca asked me to do an art swap collaboration and I was thrilled to do it. This has been really fun. I'll link her videos down below. Throughout this video, sometimes I'll be talking about a portion of the process that is not showing on the screen. Look for the photo of the particular media to the right of the screen to see what I'm referring to if there's any confusion. In part 1, I unboxed it, and in this video, I'm creating an illustrated quote with it. So I'm at the tail end right now of an art project I've been doing. It's called 100 Days of KW Quotes, where I illustrate a quote for 100 days, not the same quote, a different quote every day. And this piece is day 96 of 100. When I've been starting these, I usually make a plan 5 seconds before I do it. Maybe not 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more than that, but I kind of like working without a net because part of the excitement of creating art for me is actually deciding on and making decisions in real time, and then correcting them when they take an unexpected turn or even a turn for the worse. That's exactly what happens here, where I miscalculated space I'd need for one of the words in the quote. And so I went into a different direction and I went for an abstract background instead. I love to do decorative and pretty quotes, but I also really love it when the image says something about the message that the quote is conveying. And in this case, the quote is weighty with meaning, and it struck me that an abstract background that looks and feels like a landscape or a map or a satellite picture from above the earth would further connect the quote's meaning to the artwork. I wanted it to look like a civilization in decay, sort of. Let's talk about materials. I used the ad marker as the initial background, the smelly one that I talked about in part 1. I mentioned I had nostalgia about the smell of that marker, and what I didn't quite articulate in part 1 was that I don't understand why this marker has not been reformulated in 40 years. It smells really, really strong, and it smells the exact same to my nose as it did when I was 10 years old. So that was part of my confusion with it and why I thought it was just so funny. Now, I really love the colors, and even the bleed that this marker produces is really cool. So I see its unique value. However, that smell cannot be good to breathe in, you know what I mean? So as much as I like this marker, and I'll be honest, using it here has certainly piqued my interest, and I will be testing more out at the art store in a controlled environment with a pad of paper. But I don't think these could be a staple for me because, except for that nostalgia factor with this one, I don't like smelly pens and I try to use them sparingly. The material I was most curious about was the Caran Luminance color pencil. In part 1, I thought this might be a water-soluble pencil. I've seen them in the art store, and for some reason I always thought that they were water-soluble, but they were really expensive, so I never bought them. I mean, open stock. It's like maybe $4 a pencil or something. Anyway, I researched, and they're not water-soluble. What makes them so special is that they are museum quality and a bunch of other stuff. I'll read off the Blick website for you here. Here we go. These pencils combine the smoothness of a permanent lead with excellent light fastness. Every shade has been formulated using finely ground pigments chosen for their purity, intensity, and resistance to UV rays. Strong coverage and mixing capacity allow for intense applications, blending and burnishing, while extreme softness enables subtle blending and gradations. There's more about the packaging, but you get the general idea. So I really enjoyed using this pencil. It's just a gorgeous looking pencil, which is nice, but more importantly, the lead is really smooth and creamy and opaque, and it glides beautifully. This is a really premium price pencil. For example, on the Blick website, a set of 12 of these pencils is $43, and the price gets better the more pencils are in the set that you purchase. And of course, I would highly recommend shopping around if you want to look into these. I'm going to look at these in Artist and Craftsman and see if the price is better, or I don't even know if they carry them or not, but we'll see. I definitely see the value in all of the qualities I experienced while using it, as well as the resistance to the UV rays in particular. But if I was going to collect some of this line, I would have to take a really good look at the color options they have and see how the range is in terms of the way I use colored pencils. Because I would pay top price for light fastness of colors that are typically faders, colors like really bright pinks, reds, greens, yellow, because I find that there's less media available in those colors that are really, really bright and intense that actually keep their light fastness and intensity. But if the range is a little more earthy, then there's already plenty on the market that fulfills my needs for light fastness. I think that those colors are easier to formulate as light fastness and UV ray resistant. So that's just my thoughts. I welcome yours in the comments if you like. So your mileage may vary, but the takeaway for me is that these are just very premium colored pencils with museum quality pigments. And yes, they're gorgeous, but to make sure the colors are up your alley when you buy them and to shop around for the best price. One of the things about using art supplies someone else chooses for you is that it is really a challenge, not only color-wise, but also in terms of certain things you would normally grab and they're just not there. For instance, for me, there were moments when I would typically grab an opaque paint marker or even a white or a very light colored pencil for highlight, and I didn't have one. So because I had a lack of opaque highlighters, I mean, not highlighters, but like things that I would use for highlight, I tried to make the dark lines darker in those cases. The Micron helped out a lot with this because though it's a really fine point, the lines are inky and very opaque. The ProMarker and the Blick markers were nice and I liked them, but they didn't have the darkest darks I was looking for. So for the lettering, I supplemented that with a Micron. Again, you see I picked up this Luminance pencil time and time again, and I think that for myself, I can see buying a few open stock just to test them out and just for things that I do on the regular, like using them for light opaque highlighting, because I think the lighter colors might be right up my alley, but I still have to look at the range. I haven't looked at it at all. I'm also excited to see if they have anything really bright and bold. This one performed really excellent on this piece for me. I'm kind of using it as I would use an opaque highlighter or a lighter color, even though it's sort of a mid-tone blue, because it's such a solid performer for me here. And the opacity makes it really pop next to the darker blue marker lines. Part of this challenge was using every material. I used the Blick pastel for some orange details, and I smeared it into the paper to make some areas more opaque. The color was almost the same as some of the orange markers, so it was a little harder to see here. The Marabou art crayons are so fun because they have such a thick tip. They really force you to come up with ways to use them that aren't detailed in any way, but they're really fun to use. The color is so bright and gorgeous. I drew it over some parts and then smeared it with my fingers, and I love the color and how it performed. It was very translucent. It had a lot of variety in use. I hope you enjoyed this part 2 video today. Thank you so much to Rebecca for asking me to do this. I would totally do it again. It's so much fun. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up really matter to the YouTube search, and it means a lot to me. More people will find this video if you thumb it up, quite honestly. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell to get notified whenever I post new videos if you like this type of video. All of my videos are art related in some way, shape, or form, and I love making videos for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.